Did you? I'm curious. Did you know sort of about YouTube and online video stuff before you threw your hat in the ring, or is it something you sort of just discovered?
A little bit. I've been techie when I left the Senate.
We'll go back and forth between questions that people submitted by text and ones they submitted by video. All right. Well, Senator Gravel, welcome here to YouTube. We're glad that you're here to join us and answer a few questions from users.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Well, these questions were submitted online. Some are video, some are text. And we'll start with a video question.
Human trafficking is an increasing problem within the United States. Each year, between 14,000 and 18,000 victims are trafficked across international borders and brought into the U.S. It's already estimated that 200,000 victims are trafficked within the United States alone, and 6 to 8 million victims are trafficked internationally. This is an increasing problem, and organizations alone can't handle this. We need the government's intervention. What will you as president do to abolish modern-day slavery?
Anything I can possibly do. I mean, I'm horrified by that, as you are, that in the 21st century would still have human slavery and sex slaves is just beyond the pale. And so there's just a lot of things you can do if you want to do, because there's a lot of countries that become very tolerant of that. And so it's how you use your force. It's how you have influence. And all I can say is I will have all of my commitment behind what you're concerned about to solve it, and it's global governance that needs to be, and I'm the only one that I know of that's talking about the need for global governance. Everybody's talking about national governance. Now, we're one world, and we're a global society, and we have to begin to organize ourselves in that regard.
My question for Mike Gravel is, Costa Rica, the last holdout for the Central American Free Trade Agreement, finally agreed to the Free Trade Agreement. What do you think is the implications, and what do you think that the Free Trade Agreement in Central America is a good or a bad thing for America and for Central America? Thank you so much for your time, and hopefully you'll answer my question.
We just need to relook at. I would not wipe all this stuff out. The whole trade aspect of it. We're advancing in a globalized society, and so we need to deal with that and bring forth the best facets of this. There's more damage done to Mexico with NAFTA than has ever been done in the United States. So it's sort of selfish for us to say, well, boy, it really hurts our working people. Well, it's hurt their working people more. So you look at how did that happen? And that's because the corporate interest who control the government, both in Mexico and the United States, now design these trade packages for their corporate profit interest. And that's what has to be brought under control. The whole attitude, the whole problem of corporatism in our society needs to be bridled.
Well, thanks, Senator. We're going to go to a few text questions, actually. People sent them in, not by video, but by text as well. And the first one is from a person who calls himself, whose name is Tyler W. All right, and here's the question. Senator Gravel, what is your take on today's war on drugs? Do you feel American drug policy is effective in preventing the spread of harmful drugs?
Not effective at all. In fact, it's totally counterproductive. We spend anywhere from $50 to $100 billion a year on the war on drugs, and all it does is savage our inner communities. And it's the war on drugs, not the drugs that are the problem. It's the war. And not only do we savage the inner cities of America, we savage countries like Colombia, Afghanistan, you name it, Peru. Wherever there's a problem, we give them money. In Mexico, we're just giving them $20 billion. Give more guns, more hoses to whip people into line. That's not an answer. Drugs are a public health problem. They're not a criminal problem. And we have to pull the criminal element out of it, and we'll have a lot less crime as a result of that. And we'll be able to deal with people who do have addiction problems.
So this next question is from a user who calls himself Dick Ghost Moon. And the question has a reference to a YouTube video you made a while back. We'll see if you and or our users can, or viewers can catch this. The question is, the president is like a rock tossed into the lake, completely submerged under the influence of big business. Is big business responsible for the weak dollar, or can the government reverse the trend?
Well, the government per se, as we see it with politics as usual, cannot reverse the trend. We've acted like an imperialist, and we're going downhill just like the empires before us. What I've advocated, and which is what's unique about my campaign, is I want to empower you, the people, to make laws. I want to work in partnership with you. I want you empowered. The central power of government is lawmaking. So if we can turn around and provide you with that central power, you'll be able to better govern yourself and your society. And all I want to do is be president to work in harmony with you and help provide some guiding leadership.
Well, Senator, we have one last video question.
Senator Gravel, I have a question for you. Now, you seem to have the reputation of being a touch rancorous. Of course, it could just be me. And believe me, I can sympathize with the current state of affairs, national, international, the fact that no one can seem to be able to pronounce your name right, or the running debate of whether or not Alaska is actually a state. All of these can naturally get under one's skin. But my question is, okay, we've all seen the justified frustration and can understand it, but aren't you afraid of coming across as a little too one-dimensional?
Well, I am afraid of that, very much so, because I'm in these debates and I see that I'm getting short shrift. I see that I'm getting 4 minutes, and the other candidates, Hillary or Obama, they're getting 16 minutes or 15 minutes. I feel it's, and anybody who's been wronged has the same feeling. You discriminate against me, it makes you angry. Right now, as we're talking, people are dying in Iraq. And that I find difficult to stomach. I lived through that with Vietnam, and I'm living through it now. And these people are dying in vain. And we sit here comfortably and let it happen. That's wrong. That's immoral. Now, I've said that they die in vain. They're dying in vain in Iraq. They died in vain. But it wasn't the soldier. The soldier was doing his duty. But the soldier was appropriated by the nature of the power held by the president, and that's where the immorality took place. And so what happened is that person who came back without a leg and is going to live with the rest of his life being wounded in vain. Now that's tough to handle.
Senator, we'd like to give everyone who comes here to speak with us the chance, one last chance to speak to the YouTube community and tell them why they should vote for you. So if we could just, and if you could look in the camera there and tell viewers out there why they should vote for Senator Mike Gravel.
Thank you for the opportunity. It's more important than that, than just me and my candidacy. Oh, I'll be a very unusual president. I'll be one of the great presidents in American history if I can get to the office. And I'm only going to serve 4 years because I want to change. I want to change the way our government works. I want to, first and foremost, empower you. And so when I have an agenda, whether it's going to bring term limits, whether have a standard, affordable health care for everybody, whether it's going to change our system of taxation so we have some justice in that regard, whether we're going to really end the power of the military-industrial complex. I can't do that as president alone. I can only do that if you are empowered to make laws. And so, one, I want you to empower yourself by going to the nationalinitiative.us and vote. Then I want you to go to Gravel 2008 and not only vote, but contribute and join and help me get elected. What I'm trying to do is to change the paradigm of human governance. I do that, I'll be happy to go to my demise. That's the rock in the water, changing the way we govern ourselves. That's the rock in the water.